Welcome, chosen one. This is not an ordinary message, and you are not here by accident. The moment your eyes found this video, your spirit was already being prepared for what heaven is about to reveal. This is a prophetic word, time-sensitive, and heaven-authorized, meant for those who are in the midst of a divine shift. If you have been feeling restless, heavy, or strangely aware that something in your life is about to change, this is your confirmation. God has led you here to prepare you for what is coming this Wednesday. So still your mind, open your heart, and lean in. The words you are about to hear may shake you, but they will also free you. Let us begin. This Wednesday, God is moving someone out of your life permanently. You will not see it coming. There will be no polite warning, no gentle fade into the background. It will feel like one moment they were standing in the center of your life, and the next moment they vanished into thin air. This is not a human decision. This is not the product of petty arguments, misunderstandings, or everyday disagreements. This is divine orchestration. Heaven has been watching quietly for months, maybe even years, as this person has drained your spirit, stalled your progress, and subtly pulled you away from your true calling. They may not have done it maliciously. In fact, they may even believe they have been helping you. But God sees beyond appearances. He sees into the motives of the heart, the currents of the spirit, and the hidden consequences of every relationship. In your life, He has been speaking to you in whispers, in the restless nights, the sudden moments of irritation, the heaviness you can't shake when you're around them. You've brushed it off, convinced yourself it's just a phase, told yourself you're overthinking. But the truth is, your spirit has been warning you. God has been preparing you. And now, the hour is near. This Wednesday is not just another day on the calendar. It is a divine deadline, written into the blueprint of your destiny. Heaven's clock is about to strike, and when it does, you will witness what it looks like when God Himself sweeps someone out of the story He is writing. For your life, this Wednesday, God is moving someone out of your life, permanently. You will not see it coming. The shift will be so swift, so final, that part of you will question if it was even real. One day, they will be in your space, speaking their familiar words, carrying their usual energy. The next day, they will be gone like smoke carried off by a sudden wind. This is not coincidence, and it is not random. Heaven has already written this moment into your story. You have been sensing something building, haven't you? That quiet unease in your spirit, that sudden irritation you can't explain when you're around them, that heaviness that lingers after the conversation ends. You've prayed for change. You've asked God to open doors, to make a way, to release you into your next season. But what you didn't realize was that some doors cannot open until certain people are gone. Not because you're unworthy with them, but because they carry an energy, a vibration, a spiritual frequency that simply cannot coexist with the blessings God is about to pour out. Think of it like a seed trying to sprout in soil that is already overcrowded with weeds. No matter how much sunlight and rain you give it, the roots will be strangled unless something is cleared away. This person has been one of those weeds, not necessarily evil in nature, but out of alignment with your purpose. And alignment is everything in the kingdom. God has been patient with you, letting you learn, letting you love, letting you give this connection every chance it could possibly have. But now, heaven has decided. Time is up. There is a spiritual law that when a soul contract expires, the connection begins to corrode. Words become sharper, tensions rise. Conversations that once flowed now feel heavy and forced. This has been happening for a reason, not to punish you, but to prepare you. The friction is God's gentle way of loosening your grip before He makes the final separation. And on Wednesday, that separation will happen, whether you feel ready or not. This person's presence in your life has been like a shadow that you've grown accustomed to walking with. You hardly notice it anymore because it's always been there. But the moment God removes them, you will realize just how much light they were blocking. Their energy has had a way of quietly absorbing your joy, your creativity, and your focus. It may not have been deliberate, they may not even be aware they're doing it, but the effect is undeniable. Heaven has watched you pour out love, time, and emotional labor into a relationship that has not been pouring back into you at the same capacity. And while you've convinced yourself that this is the price of being a good person, the truth is, it's been a form of spiritual self-sabotage. God doesn't call his chosen to burn themselves out just to keep others warm. There comes a time when the cup must be refilled, when the giver must be given to, and when the load must be lightened so the journey can continue. Wednesday marks that turning point. Heaven has decided that you will not carry this weight into the next chapter. You will not keep bleeding energy into a connection that does not multiply what you give. You have important assignments ahead, and you cannot run this race while tied to someone whose season in your story has ended. I know there's fear in this. The unknown has a way of rattling even the strongest faith. Part of you wonders, who? Will it be? Will it hurt? Will I regret it? But child of God, listen. When heaven closes a chapter, it's because the rest of the book cannot be written until that page is turned. God is not in the business of removing without replacing, of taking without restoring, of cutting without healing. This Wednesday's removal will feel sharp at first, like a sudden gust that knocks the breath out of you. But almost immediately, you will notice a strange stillness, as though a pressure you didn't even know was there has finally lifted. That's the mark of divine timing, the peace that follows the pain. You may not understand it fully on Wednesday. You may even try to fight it, to hold on, to reason with God about why it doesn't need to happen. But trust this, in the weeks that follow, you will see things shift in ways you couldn't have imagined. Opportunities will open, conversations will align, doors that were stuck will swing wide, and you'll realize that what you thought was a loss was actually the removal of a blockage. Pay attention to the days leading up to Wednesday. There will be signs. You may feel a heaviness in your spirit when you think about this person. Little disagreements may flare up unexpectedly. You may feel restless, distracted, or even irritable around them for reasons you can't quite explain. This is your spirit picking up on the change before it happens. Some of you will even dream about them. Dreams where they're leaving, fading away, or standing on the other side of a door. These are prophetic signals from your subconscious, aligning with the spiritual shift that's already in motion. You might notice your conversations with them feel strangely final, as though each word is tying up a loose end. Don't dismiss these moments. They are heaven's way of preparing your heart so the shock will not destroy you. And if you've been praying for confirmation about whether to let go, understand that this is it. You've been wondering how to tell if a season is ending. The answer is simple. When God starts making you uncomfortable in a place where you once felt safe, it's because he's about to move you. This timing is not random. It's written in the stars and sealed in heaven. We are entering a rare astrological window this week, one charged with the energy of endings and beginnings. There's a lunar phase peaking just before Wednesday that acts like a cosmic broom, sweeping away what no longer serves your highest good. The alignment between Saturn, the planet of karmic lessons, and Uranus, the planet of sudden change, is amplifying this energy. It's the kind of cosmic weather that accelerates shifts you've been delaying for years. Spiritually, this is a purge portal, a moment when the veil thins and it becomes easier for God to step in and rearrange your life in a way that matches your destiny. This is why the removal will feel so sudden. The cosmic and the divine are working together to close the chapter all at once. If you've been feeling more emotional than usual or more sensitive to the energy of those around you, this is why. You are not imagining it. You are standing at the edge of a spiritual cliff, and on Wednesday, the wind of God will push away whatever is keeping you from taking flight. Sudden endings carry deep spiritual meaning. In the natural world, we're taught to fear them, to see them as failures or punishments. But in the spirit, a sudden ending is often the highest form of protection. It's God saying, I am not giving you time to talk yourself out of this. I am doing it for you. Think of the Israelites leaving Egypt. There was no long goodbye, no easing into freedom. One moment they were slaves. The next, they were walking toward the Red Sea. God knows the human heart clings to what is familiar, even when it's harmful. That's why some removals have to be swift. The quickness prevents you from trying to mend what was never meant to be fixed. This Wednesday, you may not understand why the door has slammed so hard, but you will feel the hand of God and the force of it. And later, you will see that it was mercy disguised as loss. Soul contracts are real, spiritual agreements made before we were even born. They determine who enters our lives, for how long, and for what purpose. Some are meant to last a lifetime, others only a season. When a soul contract is complete, the connection begins to dissolve, often in ways that are painful but necessary. You may have fulfilled your role in their journey, and they in yours. The lessons have been exchanged. The growth has been achieved. But when we resist letting go, God will step in to enforce the expiration date. This Wednesday, one such contract will end. It will not be because of hate, anger, or even betrayal, though those emotions may surface, but because the assignment is complete. And when an assignment is complete, lingering in the same place only breeds stagnation. You may already be feeling the tremors of this approaching shift. Increased tension with someone, words that sting more than usual, conversations that leave you drained instead of uplifted. Or maybe it's quieter than that, just a subtle knowing that the air between you has changed. For some of you, the signs have been obvious for months. For others, this realization is only dawning now. Either way, the energy is undeniable. The connection is loosening. The more you cling, the heavier it will feel. The more you release, the lighter you will become. This is the paradox of divine endings. They only hurt when we resist them. The moment you surrender, you begin to see the beauty in the removal dot. So here is your warning, your preparation, and your confirmation. Wednesday will be a line in the sand. Before it, you will still be in the company of someone whose presence no longer aligns with your path. After it, that presence will be gone. And though you may cry, though you may question, though you may even feel abandoned in that moment, know this: heaven has stepped in. This is divine surgery, removing what has been infecting your spirit so that you can heal. You have prayed for freedom, and sometimes freedom comes not by opening a door, but by closing one forever. Trust the hand that closes it. The energy building toward Wednesday is not just personal, it's planetary. There's a rare energetic purge happening that sweeps across the lives of the chosen. In astrology, this is what's known as a release alignment, where cosmic forces conspire to clear your path, whether you feel ready or not. This week, the moon is shifting into a phase that strips illusions and exposes hidden truths. It's like spiritual floodlights turning on in a dark room. You'll suddenly see what's been right in front of you, but clouded by emotional fog. That's why some of you will wake up in these days before Wednesday feeling a strange combination of clarity and grief. Clarity because the truth is undeniable now. Grief because you realize it means someone's role in your life is ending. The atmosphere is charged, and the spiritual pressure you've been feeling is the sound of chains loosening. It is not chaos. It is divine order in disguise. You might think you're losing something, but in truth, you're making space. This is one of heaven's deepest mysteries. Before God sends the next blessing, he often sends a removal. It's the clearing of the spiritual table. Imagine trying to set out a feast on a surface cluttered with broken dishes, spoiled food, and crumbs from meals long gone. You can't feast in the fullness of what's next until the remnants of what's past are swept away. This Wednesday, that sweeping will not be gentle. It will not be a slow, careful tidying. It will be a decisive clearing, a sudden sweep of the hand that removes everything not fit for the new banquet. And you will look at the empty space and think it's loss, but in reality, it's preparation. When God removes someone, it is rarely because they are a bad person. Sometimes, it is because their chapter in your story is complete. You have both learned what you needed to learn from each other, and to stay past that point is to step into spiritual stagnation. But here's the truth. The human heart resists endings. We cling to what's familiar because the unknown feels like a risk. But God sees the whole map of your journey, and he knows that lingering in one place too long will cost you the treasures meant for the next place. This Wednesday's removal will be painful only to the extent that you refuse to trust that. God knows what he's doing. There are subtle signs that this soul contract has already been winding down. Communication feels off, even if you're talking, as often as before. There's a weight in the air when you're together, a slight tension that didn't used to be there. You may have even found yourself holding back parts of yourself, not out of fear, but because you instinctively know they won't understand. These are signals that the connection is energetically complete. On Wednesday, that invisible knowing will become visible action. A conversation, an event, or even complete silence will draw the line. And when it happens, you will feel the truth in your bones. It is done now. We step into the deeper purpose of this removal. You must understand that God does not remove without reason. If this person remained in your life any longer, they would continue to block blessings you've been praying for. They may be holding on to old versions of you, unwilling to let you grow into your true power. Or perhaps their energy is like a sponge, soaking up your motivation, your peace, and your joy. You've been dimming your light around them, even if unconsciously, just to keep the peace. But you were never meant to live in dimness. Wednesday is God's way of switching the breaker back on, flooding your life with the light you've been withholding. God's mercy sometimes comes wrapped in loss. Think about that. We pray for protection, and then get upset when God takes away what was harming us. But the removal is the protection. The relationship you've been trying to hold together has been slowly unraveling your focus, your health, your spiritual fire, and while you've convinced yourself you can manage it, heaven knows the cost you're paying is too high. Wednesday will feel like a storm in the moment, but in hindsight, you'll see it was a rescue mission. God will pull you out before you sink too deep. Holding on to the wrong person can delay the right season. You've been standing at the doorway of a new chapter, but that doorway has been blocked by the energy, influence, or baggage of this person. Imagine trying to carry a suitcase that isn't yours through airport security. You'd be stopped, questioned, delayed. That's exactly what's been happening in the spiritual realm. You can't board the next flight of your destiny while holding what doesn't belong to you. Wednesday is your release at the gate. Heaven is removing the excess baggage so you can finally take off. After this person is gone, your life will feel strangely different. At first, it might feel too quiet. You may instinctively reach for your phone to text them, only to remember they're no longer there. But give it time. That silence will transform into stillness. That stillness will become clarity. And clarity is fertile ground for destiny. You'll notice you have more energy. Ideas will flow again. Sleep will come easier. This is the ripple effect of spiritual realignment. When what doesn't belong is gone, everything else starts to fall into place. Some of you will be tempted to chase after them, to try to undo what God has done. You'll think, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we can work it out. But hear me, when God removes someone, chasing them is running against the wind of heaven. It will exhaust you, it will drain you, and it will only delay the blessings that are already lined up for you on the other side of this ending. If they were meant to stay, nothing could have removed them. If they're gone, it's because your spirit's season with theirs has ended. I know it's hard to let go. You've built memories, shared moments, laughed, cried, and grown together. The removal will feel like tearing pages out of your own story, but those pages were written for a chapter that's already over. God is now holding the pen, ready to write the next part, and you cannot step into the fullness of your purpose while clinging to the footnotes of yesterday. Wednesday is not about loss. It's about liberation. And when you see what God brings into your life after the clearing, you'll understand that this was the only way forward. When the removal happens, the first thing your flesh will want to do is fight it. You'll want to call, explain, plead, or fix it. But in the spiritual realm, resisting a divine removal is like holding on to a burning rope. The longer you grip it, the deeper the wounds. You must make a conscious decision to trust the process. This is where your faith is tested. Remember, God saw what you didn't see. He heard conversations you weren't present for. He knows the trajectory of that person's path and how it would intersect or collide with your own. When heaven closes a door, trying to reopen it is an act of spiritual rebellion. Instead, surrender to the higher wisdom at work. Say in your heart, Lord, I release what you have removed. I trust you to protect my future, even when I don't understand the present. That declaration is not just a statement, it is a spiritual key that locks the past and opens the gates of your next season. Once the separation is complete, you must seal your energy. The days after Wednesday are critical. In the spirit, your aura, your field of divine light, will be tender like new skin after a wound. You must guard it from intrusion. This means being intentional about your conversations, your social media engagement, and even your inner thoughts. Speak life over yourself every morning. Pray protection prayers such as, Father, I cover my heart, my mind, and my spirit in the blood of Jesus. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and no spirit of guilt, shame, or fear will enter my space. You can also anoint your home. Just a small drop of oil on each doorframe as a physical act of declaring only what is aligned with heaven may enter here. This is not superstition. This is spiritual warfare, and you are fortifying your boundaries in the days following the divine cut. Do not rush to fill the void. The space left behind after someone exits your life is sacred. It is the womb of your next season. Too many people rush to replace what God removed, only to bring in another blockage wearing a different face. Learn to be comfortable in the stillness. Let your spirit breathe. Spend time journaling your feelings, not to dwell on the pain, but to extract the lessons. Ask yourself, what was this relationship sent to teach me? How have I grown? What will I do differently now? This is how you transform a loss into wisdom. And as you rest in that space, you'll notice new people, opportunities, and resources starting to flow in naturally, not because you chased them, but because you made room for them. The blessing hidden inside this loss will not be obvious at first, but in time, you will see that this was not subtraction. It was multiplication disguised as reduction. You will realize that your peace is fuller, your creativity sharper, your days lighter. You will notice divine alignments happening with little effort, as though the universe itself is conspiring to push you forward. This is because you step back into the flow of your true path. In spiritual law, whatever is removed in obedience is always replaced with something greater in alignment. You may lose one connection, but gain an entire community. You may lose one opportunity, but gain a calling. This is the kingdom's economy. The exchange rate is always in your favor when God is the one making the trade. And so, I prophesy over you now. When Wednesday ends, you will not be the same. The chains will be gone, the air will be lighter, and your spirit will know it is time. Time to walk without the weight, time to dream without the doubt, time to step boldly into the assignments you've been postponing. The removal will be your release, and your release will be your rebirth. You will rise from this shift with a clarity you have never known, with a strength you didn't think you had, and with a faith that no storm can shake. The old chapter will be closed, sealed, and placed on the shelf of your history. Ahead of you is a page God has kept blank, waiting for you to step into it so He can write miracles into your story. Wednesday is not the end, it is the turning of the key in the lock of your destiny. And when you step through, you will understand. Heaven has moved on your behalf, and you are free.